Ever wonder what goes into building a home that's not just luxurious, but also virtually indestructible? Forget everything you know about high-end construction. We're taking you behind the walls of a cutting-edge ICF residence, revealing the secrets of its unparalleled strength, sustainability, and the exquisite craftsmanship that makes it truly one of a kind. Tired of homes that compromise on safety, efficiency, or design? Imagine a residence that offers ultimate protection from the elements, drastically cuts energy costs, and still exudes breathtaking luxury. This isn't just a dream, it's a reality being built with innovative ICF technology, and we're about to show you how these resilient masterpieces are crafted from the ground up. Think luxury homes are all about marble and gilded fixtures? What if I told you that true innovation lies in the very structure of the walls? Prepare to have your perception shattered as we expose the hidden artistry and meticulous engineering behind an ICF luxury residence, proving that true high-end living is built on a foundation of uncompromised strength and sophisticated resilience. I'm here at the Liberty Estate. We're standing actually in the master bedroom. I have this wellness area just behind me. And we spoke about the meticulous design that goes into ICF construction and how that plays a role and transfers to interior design. But I do want to speak about one thing as far as exterior from a builder perspective. Now, we use a lot of stucco, which is very common here in Arizona. So when you're working with stucco, you know, we're always going to come through the exterior and we're going to create a lath product. It's a styrofoam product. It does add a little bit of insulation value for the client. Typically, it's about 1 inch thick of lath insulation that you see the chicken wire, and then we'll go through our coat system of, you know, integrated stucco. Now, what this does, working with ICF, is it's going to give us a really strong base to the home. And so because it has 2.5 inches of rigid foam, we actually don't have to come through and install the traditional 1 inch foam over the top. So it saves a step for our stucco company, which also helps on cost. Now, more importantly, something that's unique is as you think about the substrate that's installed. Now, in this case, this home is very traditional. Something, you know, a lot of people know us as, you know, modern construction here in Arizona. This is a very traditional home. And so we're going to have a tremendous amount of hand-carved limestone installed all across this home. And we're going to have brick that's installed. Now, because we have these large corbels and we have these large hand-carved elements that go over the windows, under the windows, right, the window sill, these have to be mounted to the face of the structure. And when this is a stick frame home, of course you have to take into consideration the weight of this limestone, especially if it's not all stacked on each other to the base, you know, and it's just mounted and planted on the surface area. So you think about how that works in with the structural engineer. Then you have to figure out from the interior, okay, how do we do backing and bracing and figure out how to support these structures? What's great about this home being ICF with solid concrete interior walls between the foam is we can drill straight through that ICF and the concrete, and we can epoxy bolts and lags and anchors and cleats to hold the weight of the limestone. And it's been engineered for that. But more importantly, it's going to make install faster, more efficient, and more secure working with our limestone company as they're going to be installing these massive headers, you know, over the front door and over the windows around the build. And so we had already worked on some details with them. And of course, their eyes perked once they learned it was ICF because they knew that they could really create a strong structure, because the structure itself is sound and strong, that will mount all the different limestone. And you'll see as we get through construction the amount of limestone. And that really plays a role as we come inside. When you think about the durability and construction of these walls, this timeless product that's going to last for a long time, it really plays a role into the traditional interior design and how we're going to be installing a lot of trim work. You know, a lot of craftsmen will be in here working, you know, on cabinetry and millwork and trim, something they don't get to do as much of on every build. And this house will be completely installed with trim all throughout. And so it'll take on that characteristic of a strong structure and building and bring it to the interior for something that'll stand the test of time and have true historical value. Now, something that's unique too, we mentioned exterior, but this also played a role in the overall design. I'm actually standing here on 5 inches of concrete over steel B-deck. And this is something that's not as common in residential. However, we do have a few clients that have walked this and are doing this in their personal home. And the reason being is because now you create a second floor structure with all steel B-deck. You have 5 inches of poured in place concrete with a really strong PSI, which now helps for the sound transformation between second floor and first floor. It also helps as we speak about the sturdiness of the build, right? The strength and structural components of the build from exterior to interior, not only here on this floor, but also down to the foundation, right? We worked with Stucco on their pango wrap. Now, in Arizona, we have subterranean termites. And so those will come up from underground. And we also have vapor issues, water issues, right? As we have large storms, water gets underneath the slab. It doesn't dry. It's not exposed to the sun. And over time, it's very moist underneath the slab. So the pango Stucco mat will prevent water from coming up, water moisture into the home, and it'll prevent the subterranean termites. And that's the benefit of the pango wrap. With that said, we also have 4 inches of rigid foam underneath the slab. So we're working with DuPont on the rigid foam. So now the same methodology that goes into the exterior walls of an insulated wall to keep this very refrigerated, we're going to have the same detail underneath the slab, and that mirrors what we're doing on the ceiling. So those components now are bringing into the structural steel, the concrete, and the foundation itself, the first to second floor transition. And now we have this structure that will be here for a very, very long time, much longer than most of the homes that are constructed, especially here in Arizona. So again, all these, from the facade, from saving steps, right, for our stucco company to saving cost, they all play a role in the structural component. And then you mix in the foundation, the first to second floor slab connection, all these different elements. And one thing is, the way that we did this floor is we did the first floor of ICF, and then we poured the concrete floor over the top and then ICF, and then stacked the second floor up. So now you have this really strong durability between the first and second floors and exterior walls and interior walls and the interior slab. And with all these components now, it really brings in true quality and craftsmanship, something that we really want AFT to be, something that is really important to us at AFT, the quality and craftsmanship that goes into our builds for our clients. So again, reach out. We've had a lot of questions about ICF, why I chose to select that for my personal home, and how that came into design, and the relationship with the structural engineer, and how we're standing here today. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, reach out with any contact questions. We'll address those in our next video.